Hello, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where today we're discussing success. Are you waiting for it, or are you actually going after it? And what does that mean? Could look at it as when the going gets tough, the tough get going. What do you do when you hit a wall? What do you do when you when it seems that things just aren't going the right way? Hiccups, obstacles, things like that. Do you respond with, okay, I'll go the other way? Or you tighten up the belt, as they say in my world, suck it up, buttercup, and get moving toward that goal you've got or toward that dream? That's one way to look at it. Another is just how clear is your end goal? Because if it's really, really clear, I've learned that it is easier to not get derailed. If the purpose of your activity is very clear to you and you are emotionally attached to it, it's really important to you that you get this done, right? It's really important to you that this happen. Then you can go after it, and you will go after it. That's been my experience. So, you have when the going is hardest, just keep on going. Now here's another thing, and I'm just going to throw it out there, that especially when you're looking at improving your knowledge and your skill set and wanting to be an expert or be viewed as an expert, maybe you want to be viewed as a thought leader, as the one in your industry. It doesn't happen overnight, as we all know, but it also, sometimes the work isn't that fun. Sometimes it's tedious. Sometimes it's boring, if you will. Boring in terms of it being tedious, and sometimes it appears it's just not that important. And that's when we need persistence and perseverance, right? But ultimately, it does come down to this. Are you willing to do the work, or are you sitting back waiting for it to happen for you? And if you're willing to do the work, what does the work look like? And how are you, in the meantime, what kind of person are you while you're doing the work? Because I think that is a big part of success for me. And those that I admire, those that have character, those that have honor and dignity, they respect their fellow man. They walk away from confrontation rather than jump in the middle of it. Those are types of character traits that I'm attracted to and I want to have on my road to success. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Good to see you. How are you, my dear?
I'm pretty well. How about you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So what do you think?
Yeah. I always go back to, there's a really good quote from, I watched a TED Talk from Ken Robinson one time, and he said there's three kinds of people. There's immovable people, movable people, and then people that move.
There you go.
People that move, and the ones that are moving and challenging themselves are the ones that they'll meet that failure, but they'll learn from that failure and succeed more often because it's action oriented.
Mm-hmm.
A part of that too, I think, is being able to get people to move, like as a leader, or getting new people that follow you to move with you with whatever change you're trying to make.
Yeah, that one's tough. That one's tough for me. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
talking about that. I don't know in here.
Those immovable people.
Well, I don't know that they're immovable, but sometimes it appears that I'm not the right leader.
Yeah.
because I'm recalling a few instances over the past couple of months where it's like head scratch. Say, knew what was supposed to be done, right? And I'm being completely ignored. So it's like, well, and really what ended up happening is that it turned out that I'm not the right person to lead it. Exactly, Brian. Exactly. So I abdicate. Okay, looks like you're the right person. Step in, take over. Not a problem. You know. Then there's others that it was loose to begin with. There wasn't a clearly defined leader, and that was tough. That one's tough.
Somebody's got to own it. Somebody's got to.
Somebody has to be.
Yeah.
Somebody just has to be, and as long as everybody else is willing to follow them, that's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what do we do with ourselves? Right? How lazy are we? I don't know. You know, this is a mindset that says, now to me, it says one of two things at the beginning. All right. At the beginning is if I'm just sitting there waiting for it to happen to me, I'm going to get exactly what I put out, which is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but if I am going after it, I have to understand what success is to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else entirely, because I don't know that many people can define what success is to them.
Yeah, and if you're constantly defining it as everyone else tells you, then you're all over.
Good point.
Because people can't define it for themselves. They look for the most common way other people define it. And that's where people get the whole mix up, I think, between like greatness and then the fame that's attached to what people accomplish. Like a lot of fame is just, people think fame is the path to greatness. They think that they need the fame first.
Right.
And making a change, taking responsibility for a change that you want to make happen, that's the path. Like the fame, what we want, I think, is the result of what we accomplish. Like the knowing that we accomplished it, that we made a difference, not the fact that you're in a more than average amount of people's heads 24/7. It's a different kind of.
So here's something interesting. I think that can be a part of what the plan is, what the ultimate goal is to show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love what Napoleon Hill says, and actually I'll be talking about this at 10 o'clock this morning. A couple of hours, we're going to have another blab, by the way. But he says success within what we're talking about, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Law of Success, all of his other writings and the teachings thereof and what have you, all the proven principles, right? I love what he says is that success is the attainment of your definite chief aim without violating the rights of other people.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's regardless of what your major aim in life may be, you will attain it with much less difficulty after you learn how to cultivate the pleasing personality. You've learned the art of aligning yourself with others and to reduce friction and envy, working in harmony with others, prepping yourself for that success. Now, having said that, I don't see there's anything wrong with the idea of I want to be known by millions of people. You know, I want to be their first thought when approaching this problem or this issue.
We want to be liked. We want to be seen empathetically, and
so the fame though that comes with that level of success, that level of fame. Do I want fame or do I want infamy? So if I want fame and I want it based on character, then it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. Well, we want it now.
Who was it that Andy Warhol did the 15 minutes of fame comment? Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. And of course we have it now with our cell phones, and we can see how fleeting it is when that's the only measure of success that we have. We can see how harmful it is.
Yeah.
Because if that is the only measure of success, then that means it doesn't matter who we hurt to get the image, who we hurt to stand beside somebody, who we hurt to reach the peak of whatever. That's not what I want to be.
Yeah, you said like being a leader and owning a company, you're able to challenge your people and then have them grow, but not put them as secondary. Like you still value the people over the results and the money and the numbers and identifying with the success as for a sense of self of who you are. Right. But you're right. Yeah. It's caring about those people that you're growing. That's the primary thing people you're serving is.
Right. And the people that I ally myself with, those that are in my inner circle, all reflect qualities that I admire. They're not all equally distributed, obviously. It's just that one of the things that I noticed on a blab over the weekend was a salesperson that I greatly respect, who is very, very successful, surprised me with the aggressive attitude that he brought to a blab. And I was very put off by it. And I examined myself, wondering, what were my expectations too high of this guy? What's up? You know, well, I've been following him since like, and honestly say since either 04 or 05.
Wow.
You know, I've got a few of his books. I've seen him on video. I know people who've been trained by him, and they are people-oriented, people-centered. It's all about the other person, right? So it was very surprising to see somebody as aggressive, and I'm not saying assertive. I'm saying got attitude, aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so close to saying, well, you're just a friggin' idiot, pretty much with everybody that was commenting or what have you, right? Yeah. That I'm like, what in the world? I still haven't figured it out. I'm going to go back and watch the recording. I don't know. Well, I am, because I'm going to figure it out before I send them a note saying, I don't know if you realize that this has gone out to the entire world, that you may have sold a lot of product, but you're not, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Not because you are not what, no, names aren't important. It's the experience. It's the experience of my watching it and wondering, is this why I don't like sales?
Yeah.
You know, is this why? And yet that's not what I saw, was not the way what he taught. So it was just an interesting experience for myself. And I think that it behooves all of us to say, you know what, I'm going after my success. And what's that going to mean? Do I really want to look like that? I don't. Please tell me there's a better way. Please tell me the nice people can do it.
The definition does change for people over time. Like it can slowly change. And maybe it changes in ways people just don't realize. Like maybe one day they wake up and they have this definition, and then over time their definition alters, and it can get in like a power and money and fame sort of way. That's why like I'm never worried about being remembered all the time. If I just do the thing that's good, I do.
Right.
It's hard to define what the right thing is, but to do something that's good for the sake of doing it because it's good and not to be remembered for it. Because that's not why you do the good thing, to be remembered.
Thank you. Yes, you boiled it down what I was saying earlier. That's it. You do the good thing because it's the good thing to do.
Yeah. And that's not always black and white like that, though, you know.
No, but I think that the kind of success that I'm going after, monetary as well as the internal stuff, that which goes along with the financial success that I've got in my head, my definition, includes the character of me. Right? That's why I look at people that catch my attention, and I'm wondering, you're not acting like I used to you acting. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like it was my first introduction to them. And then kind of looking it over to say, is it me? Is it them? And then determining if it's them. Yikes. Yeah. Yikes. You know, and there's two actually, this one over the weekend and then one previously. And I sent the other one a note. It was his first time on Blab. So I thought I'd send him a note.
Well,
I mean, I've met him in person, and I sent him a note, and he was appreciative of it. He said it was my first time, and I didn't, he was treating it like a call-in broadcast,
no.
where you call in and then boom, you're done. Boom, you're done. I mean, you don't do that on Blab.
Yeah.
You just don't. You've ticked off a lot of people, and I think you need to know that, because this is the setting of Blab, and he has since modified the way he does it. And I have no idea if it was me or if it was the hundreds that may have sent it to him, but I view that as something, respectful. I'm not trying to tear anybody down. I'm just trying to point out something you may not be aware of. And if you are, and that's cool, that's you, that's not a problem. But like his other one, until I figure it out completely, I'm not buying what he's selling.
And the people we hang around with too, like what I always think about that, like the friends that I hang around with and what their definition of success is, and how that can warp your perspective, especially if you go on endeavors with them, if you try to complete projects with them.
Yeah.
What's in it? Like if they have the whole attitude of what's in it for me, that's really funny. Like people call that. I read a book somewhere that called that WIIFM radio. What's
Yeah,
radio?
that's it exactly. Well, and that's honestly, as a marketer and a researcher, that's one of the top elements moving forward with a research project related to business, or with any project that's about to be launched, is what is in it for the customer, because that is what's going to help them pull the trigger to say, yes, I want this.
Yeah, who are we serving? What value are you creating, and who is it serving?
Now, having said that, actually, I think that's true for everything that I jump into. I have to look at what's in it for me. Sometimes it's the money that isn't quite where it needs to be. The best projects are the end goal satisfies my values of wanting to be of service, to help people think differently, to help them see a different way of living, and help them to explore for themselves how they might be able to put these principles in their lives, or this new thing I'm helping them with in their life, and provide guidance. And a few other things, and who am I working with? But it's still, I have to also look at what's in it for me in terms of seeing it the overall view, rather than that strictly what's in it for me. Is how will it affect my reputation? If I'm putting my name to something and to other people, are they going to drag my name down, or are they going to lift it up? Hey, it's happened.
Yeah.
Just had somebody over the weekend. It's been almost 2 years since we broke ties. There's no more tying happening. Variety of reasons. So it doesn't align. She doesn't align with who I am and what I do.
Yeah, and that's just. I'll hop out here in a minute, but it is like finding people on the same journey too. I think about that. Like other people that have the same experience as you and hardship will probably have a slightly more similar definition of success, because they've had the same path. Like if you've been on a path of hardship and you've been challenged a lot, and you meet somebody that's had that same endeavor, then you're going to have a similar definition of success than somebody who's completely lived in excess and abundance their whole life, and maybe they attach success to just having things. It's hell as other people. I look at the quote.
Yeah, that's and then we have Ken.
All right, I'll let somebody else hop in here.
Okay, Matt, it was good to see you. Thank you.
Always fun to discuss big ideas.
Yes, it is.
Ourselves hungry for going after big thoughts.
Nothing wrong with that. Big thoughts
Exactly.
get you big outcomes. Anybody else want to jump in and talk about, are you waiting for success, or are you going after it? And what does it look like that you're going after it? Oh. No. Let's see what Napoleon Hill has to say. Reaching the top of any field is difficult, time-consuming, and often tedious. And if you think achieving great heights of success will be easy, you either don't understand at all how the process works, or you have set your sights too low. And I think that's why I titled it this way. If you're waiting, that just simply means you're not willing to do the work. Or honestly, could it be you don't know what the work looks like yet? Nobody's spent time with you enough, or you haven't been exposed enough to other people to understand the actual work involved. You know the saying, nobody has an overnight success, which actually all of us could be considered overnight successes, right? But after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of intensive work, be it a rock band, actor or actress, writer, author, Elon Musk going to the moon and other planets in a private endeavor, solar energy harnessers, inventors, anybody who has achieved great success didn't do it by just sitting around thinking about it. Come on, Will, you can do it. Uh-oh. Looks like you might have to try again, Will.
Okay, everything froze for me, so now I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Good morning.
Good morning. So I think this is you hit on a really good point, and that is doing the work, So, me, I like, a lot of that, law of attraction stuff and all this other, I think it's interesting. I think it's good to be positive and think good thoughts and all that other stuff. But I was talking with a friend on Anchor, and, and she was talking about making your brand someone who does work, right? And that is like the missing key. A lot of people don't really seem to understand or want to accept.
Well, what flipped through my mind when you were saying that was, could somebody please introduce me to the person who is making a lot of money for just sitting in the front room in a meditative state saying, money, please come to me. I would like to meet that person. Because that's what you were describing, where if you just think it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even just thinking and just doing isn't enough, because it's still honestly, I think it's because it's still centered completely around you. I'm the one that wants the money, therefore I'm going to walk out there and I am going to attract all this to me because I am pretty darn awesome. No, I mean, at its simplest, basic mm-hmm. form, Instead, it means, then correct me if I'm wrong or it needs tweaking. It is, I have something that I can offer. I've identified it. I can be of service to others. I can solve their problem. I have a pleasing personality. I'm pretty positive. I don't tear people down. I don't practice gossip, and I don't sit in anger and a pot of envy and jealousy of everybody else. Always pointing fingers that it's your fault. I'm here, right? And so I go out, and I go out into the marketplace, either to sell myself, my product, or my service, and I attract those who want the answer that I'm offering. And by doing that, it is, it's lucrative for me because they're exchanging money for the service and product that I'm offering. I'm also attracting those who are like-minded. So if I tend to be a little nicer, if I tend to be pleasant and a listener and offer, I'm not very gracious, but sometimes I can be. I'm going to attract. I'm going to be attractive to nice people, right? I tend to be a thinker, so honestly, I have a lot of what other people would call geeks around me, and it's because when we get to talk, pool hall, perfect example, pool hall last night. I was talking with my fellow geek. She's a librarian. People, if you don't know how fascinating librarians are, you're just really missing out. She knows a little bit about everything. Oh my word, we were talking about neuroscience. We were talking about new medical devices that had come across her desk. We were talking about physics as related to pool and the different tables and the humidity and how it was affecting. We were talking geometry and setting up bank shots. It was awesome. We were having a great time. That's what law of attraction is, all based on, to me, that's what law of attraction is. What we know to be true is that it's all based on Napoleon Hill.
I think, I like the question, what, are you going after it? And so that's what brought the conversation is that regardless of whether you're thinking about vibration or not or whatever, you still got to do something, right? And so, and because even if you do think about it as, because I do recognize, to me, like attracts like you were saying, geeks attract Greeks, scientists attract scientists, lovers attract lovers. And so that's what you get. And so if you think about it that way, people who take action are going to attract people who take action. If you want someone to buy your product or service, that's an action you want them to take. You want them to have enough clarity about what they want, right? And desire to actually spend their earned money to purchase something from you. That
Correct.
Means you have to have enough clarity about what you're offering and how you're going to be of service to somebody to attract those kinds of people, And so I think a lot of times people just say, they have a vague description about what they offer and its benefits. And they just want people to just come and give them.
You mean you're not going to give me $1,500 because I'm telling you I can make your life better?
Right.
Right. You're right. We have to work at it. We have to work at getting out in front of the people in some capacity. The marketer in me says there's a variety of ways to do that and multiple types of mediums to take advantage of, combo packs, if you will. The message, right? You're right. We have to be very, very clear on the message on what we're offering. It has to be in an attractive package, attractive to those that we want to purchase from us, and those that we want to associate with.
And when you think about it even more simply, right? Because everyone's not a business person, but I think it has a lot to do with feedback, right? What response are you getting from your action or from whatever strategy that you're using, to get what you want, whether it's a girlfriend or boyfriend or, your wife to get along better with you or eat healthy or feel better or feel vital, look at the results, that you're getting and tweak it here and there to get it better, So I think that's really where you see progress, right? And then, and of course it applies to business as well, that it's a continual process, you don't ever stop, and I think that's where you you're consistently growing,
Right.
And so, yeah.
Kanban for the individual, continuous improvement. Sorry. The
So
manufacturing
break that
side.
down again.
the manufacturing engineer side of me just came out.
Kanban.
Yeah, it's a Japanese process for continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were describing, quite honestly, is a process. And I don't know. I know you don't realize that's what you were doing, but my mind goes to a process that if we are in continuous improvement mode every day, we have a morning routine that this is what I have. I have a morning routine. We all know, everybody here knows this is part of it. This is the end of Gas Kaizen and Kanban. Anyway, so the morning routine sets me up for the day. It doesn't mean I'm going to have an awesome day. It doesn't mean that everything's going to go my way, which really, it's annoying sometimes, but that's not the guarantee. Hello? And yes, thank you, Ken. Kanban is the card system, and that's where I was going. The process is that I have a list of things that are done each morning. At one time, I had actually written it out, and actually I do have it written out on my whiteboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 things must be done every morning. It's a commitment I made to myself, and it is about keeping myself moving forward. One thing I added to it was a focus on the mindset, because what I found was, even though I had the system in place, things weren't happening. Something was missing. And what was missing was strengthening my mindset so that when things go wonky, when the day turns, when I get annoyed because somebody doesn't do what they say they're going to do, then I'm not as apt to spend and waste a lot of time on the what didn't happen, but instead my mindset is such that I'm able to say, oh, obstacle, is this a speed bump or a really huge concrete wall? What kind of effort's it going to take to get me through it? So that's where my mind went.
Well, you hit on a great point there, and I think both are it's wise to have both strategies in place as far as mindset and systems, right? And so,
mindset has made all the difference in the world. I'm just going to tell you now, for me, it has made all the difference in the world. It has pulled me out of that survival mode. Survival was when I'd gotten stuck in just doing what needed to be done, the process and the systems, and they were okay getting by. No growth, but just, we all know you can't just stop. So such smaller than the current U.S. economic growth. Okay. So which is pretty small. And adding the mindset piece, broadening it by having this program, it's made all the difference in the world in getting me closer and closer to what I envision as success. Go ahead, Will. Got me excited there. Had to share.
No, I'm glad. And it's so funny because it's kind of like we're on opposite sides of the same thing. So I was the other way, where I have the mindset piece together, right? And I spent most of my time focusing on mindset, right? But I didn't really understand that or have the proper appreciation to me of systems, right? And developing them and working in them. And now I'm bringing that balance. And actually that's where I'm going to be spending a lot of, that's part of my, how can I say this, message. I just announced on Anchor that I'm going to be launching my life coaching program, and that's it's going to be about
rocks. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm very happy, but what I said is, I asked the question, what is your system? What is your system for motivation? What is your system for inspiration? What is your system for getting things done? And when you get on track, how do you get back on track? And so I'll help you set up those systems, right? And I think you can do one for mindset and also for accomplishing your goals, right? And I think a lot of times we get caught up, like you said, in how do you accomplish the goal? You know, like in
Into the
business, you
physical
know, there's a
activity.
process.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, there's an activity. You know,
Or
there's a process that you need to do. And so
let's see here.
you also, however, you need motivation and you need a I can do it attitude. You know, so it's
Right.
both.
So let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Sales process. That's what I was looking for on my wall, because I
Mm-hmm.
often take brand new clients through this to see where you are right now. Because if we're going to grow you from where you are right now in your business, we need to know literally where you are. So what's broken? If we have something that's broken, we need to fix it before you can move forward. So let's go through the sales process. Here is a system. Here is a process that check off, right? Capture attention, establish rapport, establish credibility, target a problem, give a solution, set expectations, provide social proof, benefits, what's in it for them, irresistible offer, risk reversal, scarcity, and then a clear call to action, which actually is the final end game. That's the proposal that sums it all up so that you sign and contract moves forward. So that's essentially, that's the process.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a whole lot of woohoo, I'm going to feel good, get my mind focused on anything about that. And that's why some people miss the target when it comes to the sales process. That's what I wanted to throw in there. That is a process.
Mm-hmm.
That is getting from point A or number 1 to number 12, getting a signed order. What you're
Right.
offering is, let's actually get them to sign the order, because we are approaching them as another person that has something to offer in addition to just this process.
Well, it's so how I see it is, if you don't believe that you're going to sell it, or if you don't believe in what you're selling, that process is not going to be effective, right? And it's not going to ring true. But you know, because you offer quality service and that you can deliver it well, you know, and that it is going to benefit that client. So your mindset is already together, right? And I think a lot of people get into sales, their mindset is not together, right? And so their mindset, they don't really believe in the product. They don't really, you know, they're just going through this, you know, list that the company gave them and things to do. And, you know, both got to be together, both got to work. And what I've discovered, and, you know, through practice and through research, lots of research, right, is how to create systems or structures that will facilitate the best mindset. So both personally and in groups, you know, a lot of the study about mastermind has helped me a lot, you know, of how you can support each other, you know, or in your network of people, and how to organize that, you know, first maybe being with your spouse or your partner or a group of people that are actually going to intentionally focus on lifting each other up. So, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. And, you know, taking action is the last master key, so to speak, right? Yes. You know, and so to me, you know, it's that feedback too. So even after you implement, you go back and say, okay, how is this working? You know, what worked, what didn't? And I'm really focusing this week on your chief aim, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're focused on something, then your feedback makes sense, right? If you're not focused on anything, it's just noise, you know, things are happening, things aren't happening. I don't really know, you know, but is it really moving you forward in something
or being solely focused on there isn't enough money in the bank? Must be doing great. Got money in the bank. Yes, I know people like that. Right. That's how they run their businesses, which of course they're the ones that'll fall apart in the first year. If they last 3 years, they'll fall apart. Yes, absolutely. So it really does come down to action. And honestly, I think one thing that held me up for many, many years was the idea, and I believe it wrong today, but it was my idea and was my thinking, was that that even if I have the process in place, it's going to take a long time. Everything is a long sales cycle in the business world, and it's not true. that moving from point A, number 1 to number 12 it's going to take months. Well, that's not true. Sometimes this can all be done in a matter of 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that is where the mindset comes in. You can move this along more quickly with the proper mindset. That's what I heard you say.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And a lot, yeah. And you can go around in circles, like you said, for months without the proper mindset. But when you get the proper mindset, boom, you're banging out your business plan, you're banging out your marketing strategy, your advertising. You know, it's like
things
boom,
get done.
you got it clicking, and you're moving along, right? You know, at God's speed, so to speak. You know, because you got your mind right, and so I definitely agree with that 100%. You know, that's where I think the well, one of the benefits of coaching, one of the benefits of masterminds, one of the benefits of conversations like this. Is you get your, you know, of this program is you get your mind set properly, you know, and then you can go execute on things. It's not like, you know, we are giving good information, but most of us know this information to some degree already, right? But you got to get your mind kind of like tuned to initiate it.
Well, who was it that Zig Ziglar said? Was it Zig Ziglar that said motivation is like taking a bath? Got to look at it every day. Got to do it every day, you know, or taking a shower. Mm-hmm. And each day is different. I've had a long stretch of a break from day to day, and I am more than just my thinking. So I awaken today to prep myself intentionally so that I have the proper mindset to move forward with the day. Hence, that's the whole point of this program, and why I'm really, really glad people like you and you know, come on here, because I am not the expert on mindset. You know, we all know the whole reason Charlene started this program was for me. It has since turned, and I show up because people continue to show up and get value, which is fantastic. And you all have helped me get to this point, which is even better. Thank you. But it's still a new day. Mm-hmm. Can I move forward with today with enough in having my mindset, regardless of what happens now? Am I prepared to finish the day and tackle what needs to be tackled, start what needs to be started, address what needs to be addressed, finish what needs to be finished, whatever that may be. And if we start the day off this way, where we've prepped that's just really the way I look at it, is I'm prepping myself. And this is the end of my morning prep.
Well, I like what Ken says here. He says, I suspect humans may be unique in the animal kingdom in getting both demoralized and inspired at different times, the curse and the blessing of our different brains. And so it kind of makes the point that you're saying, you know, you got to refresh, you know, or like renew your mind every day. And it is, that's where I come to the view that, to me, the mind is not necessarily the brain. It's more of
the mind, yes,
a subtle aspect.
The brain is an organ. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's more of a subtle aspect of us that is a little bit more mercurial. And so, you know, as the day goes, it gets affected, and you know, you sleep, you wake up. It's kind of like, okay, I got to reform my mind and refound it in the integrity that I know will move me forward in a powerful way. Right. Integrity meaning a strength of connection to your values, you know. And so actually, the way I see it is kind of like a bubble. Right. And as days and time goes on, there's holes in the bubble. There's people who throw crap on your bubble, you know, and some of it gets inside, you know, and now you're walking around, you got all these weird feelings, and it's like, okay, I got to clean up my whole bubble. I got to clean everything, take everything out of it that's not supposed to be in it. I got to put more power into the, you know, little shield, you know. It's just a good imagination technique, you know, and fill it with light and do all these different things and then get clear on what I'm working on. Right.
Well, no, you just took me through my windshield wipers, filling up with the fluid, right? Cleaner fluid, and changing out one because that line of, you know, the multiple small lines of smear, got to clean that up. Yep.
Yeah, because, you know, people throw all kind of things or life, not necessarily having to blame anybody, but you go through life
Yeah,
and
the
things happen.
unexpected happens. I
Hmm.
mean, it
And
was
you
just
gotta,
last week we had one of our own, if you will, a regular here state that out of nowhere, I've been working on this project and suddenly been told I'm not going to get paid. There's there's a wrench in the works.
that's a big ball of crap getting thrown into your little bubble, right? Like, what is this?
And there's Will. And then we have Will. Big ball of crap. Yes. Normally more articulate, I will question.
Yes, but I got stuck on that little analogy. I
And
was like,
actually,
what?
it works because that's how it feels. Yeah.
Right? It's like, and now you're walking around with this, and we're human, so it might take some a lot of uplift, and we tried to. I know you're talking about. We did our best to encourage him and say you can do it. You got to refocus. You got to get back.
Yeah.
And just put that behind you, or do whatever you can do to address it. But you got to move forward. And so.
Well, that's it. Keep going after it.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Keep going after it because it's just a blip. In the end, the grand scheme of things, when I look back, I am now able to say some are blips, some are major chasms that were difficult to climb out of, but we did. And then others were just little brick walls that need a little dynamite or shovel. But that's a looking back. You got to get through it first. So the getting through part is why we have people around us that keep us thinking, keep us stable. I guess, a lot of people are my rudders. Keep me in line.
That's a good one. So Ken asked the question, how do you know when to persevere and when to change direction? So I think that's a really good question. Mm-hmm. And I like, so in Napoleon Hill's Law of Success, what chapter was this I was reading? Profiting by Failure. And so he talks about sometimes things are meant for you to change direction, right? And so, but what's so funny about it is it's kind of harder to tell in the moment. But a lot of times when something is meant for you to change direction, it will change your direction. It's not like you have a big, it's like, you're fired. Okay, my direction has just changed.
There you go.
It's like, okay.
Well, you were talking about feedback, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Ken, like not getting paid.
Right.
You were talking, so if I look at, the failures, at the stumbling blocks, at the wall I'm going against, I can't do it by myself, meaning that over and over and over again, I'm hitting the same walls. Then I do have lone wolf syndrome. I will admit to that. And what that means is that I'm the one banging my head against the wall until I realize, oh, gee, I have a whole group of people I can go to that I trust that have been through this or something similar, but can walk me through feedback, if you will. My mastermind groups are like that. My inner circle is like that. It's time to call them and talk to them and say, because I have a monthly mastermind group I'm a member of. Mm-hmm. And then I facilitate those kind of groups.
I just wanted to jump in here real quick, Charlene, to say that's a big step right there. That's a big change in direction, right? Because there's a lot of people who are like that, who are so used to doing everything on their own and are trying so hard to accomplish something, and they feel like they're failing or something, but there's so many people who can and would help them, right? And learning to actually okay, what, like you said, that feedback, what is going on? Why is this not working? How can I make it work? Well,
And what ends up happening is that when you open yourself up to that, you also learn how to ask different questions. Mm. And I say this because recently I had somebody come to me and say, what's wrong with me? That's not the right question. Right. I could give you a whole list, but it's not
the answers are not going to help you, right? Well, let me
But
tell you what's wrong with you.
That's just it. It's like, you know what you're asking me? Go to Will. He's going to give you an entirely different list. and eventually they had to laugh about it because it's like that's not the right question. But you learn that, when you're with trusted people. And I've learned that. I've learned how to ask better questions. And even then, of course, they just look at me and say, what is it you really want? And they always get me to that. Well, let's start with the end goal in mind. Let's walk through where are you now? What's the struggle? And is it resources? Is it you inside? Is it your mindset? Is it your lack of knowledge? Is it the team that you're a part of? But if I can't find the answer myself, then go outside. Right?
And yeah, and I've gotten better. I've gotten better at doing this. So a lot. What I like to suggest, going back to Ken's question, is how do you know when to persevere or when to change direction? Is that look like one person used this analogy, which I really liked. He said, life is like a book. And if you read your life like a book and look back and see where the chapters are and what the lessons and what life was kind of teaching you throughout the way, you can kind of develop a trend. And you can also start to see where, okay, life is trying to teach me this lesson. Did I not learn it? No. And then it did it again, right? It did it again. So maybe if you're looking back and something's happening right now, start to see if, maybe this, because a lot of times the same kinds of lessons happen, even if you kind of get over that hurdle or past that point, the same kind of challenge will once again come to you at a different level, and I think when you're, able to consider it that way, you can say, okay, maybe I need to, find a better way to handle this than the way I've been handling it. And it goes to exactly what you're saying. It goes
back to feedback. So all he's asking is, when do you know to change direction? Does that mean that I've changed my ultimate goal? Does that mean that I've changed what success looks like to me? I don't think so. I'm still working at growing my business and having it look a particular way. So if this direction isn't working, sometimes it's pretty quick and obvious. Whoa, that was a bad decision. I'm going to go this direction. But if it is working and then there's a blip or there's a wall or there's a struggle, then that's where that inner circle mastermind group, others can come into play. And let's look at it. And they're the ones that can provide feedback. Customers provide feedback. Other relationships provide feedback. And I think that it involves being, aware enough to understand that there are other people in this world and they might have answers that you don't have. And really all it is then, all right, so which direction should I take? If this isn't the one that's for me, where do I go next? And if I can't think of it, then somebody else can. And that's why the value of having other people around.
Exactly.
So how do you know when to do that? Is when you've consulted with yourself and others that are trusted, and you've laid out maybe a different plan, or you found the answer and are able to move forward and persevere, because that's the direction that is actually going to work. It's just you're willing to get through the tough time to make it work. What do you think?
Well, you put a lot in there. I like the last sentence that you said, is that you're willing to get through the tough time to make it work. And that goes back to your commitment to what you're working for, And the other piece was, when you were talking about the mastermind idea, I was thinking, I was seeing the mastermind sort of like, if you imagine people in different locations. In other words, like you're staying, like I'm looking out my window and there's like mountains and stuff and all that. So if one person's standing on the mountain over here and one person's standing on the mountain over here, and I'm standing in the valley and I'm kind of, there's something in my way and I can't figure out how to get around it, I can call, hey guy over there in the mountain.
What are you seeing up there?
Yeah, how do you think I can get around here? It's like everyone has a different perspective for you to, and if they know what you're trying to do, that's why you have to have a clear goal. Well, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, I don't know what to tell you, right? But if I'm trying to get to Virginia, and there's this big thing in my way. I don't know how to get or which way I
Well,
should
that's
go.
just
They give
it.
you a
Yeah, what's
perspective.
in your way? A downed tree. That's huge. One of those 600-year-old oaks. That's, you could build a house inside, right? You could live
Mhm.
inside the trunk of this, and you can't see beyond it. You can't see around it. But as you say, you've got a couple of people up on the hilltop that can. It's to me that's just lots of firewood and firewood. To me it's classic. Hunters use the walkie-talkie all the time for that. So what do you see? You really don't want to climb over that. You're better off going back, track back about 150 feet, and you're going to see this clearing or what have you, or this this rock formation. Turn around and then go around that way, because that's what I can see from above. I can see the lay of the land. You're right. Love that. Love
So I
that.
was looking at Intense Media. What time is it?
Yeah, it's top
So
of the hour. I'll be shutting it down
yeah.
shortly.
All right, so I'll put this last thought in there. So I was looking at Intense
Ah,
Media. It says, my struggle is having not being able to focus on one project. I have many talents and I like to fine tune my focus.
yes, that's a difficulty
So,
many of us have.
yeah, most definitely. So my first thought is get, get a bigger purpose that umbrellas all your different focuses, right? So there's something that is above it all, and so meaning that you, so in other words, like me, I'm interested in people being creative and people. So this is a more like a broad thing, people being creative, people really tapping into their power, people working together and collaborating and building community, right? So and that encompasses a whole lot of different things. I like music, I like poetry, I like this personal development, leadership development, all these different things. However, what helped me focus is just from experience, keep moving. When you keep moving all these different directions, you diffuse your energy and nothing has the impact that it possibly can, right? And so because I have one main focus, if I can put my heart into one project, or my energy for 2 hours into this one project, then I am going to get so much more result towards my main focus. And after that's a success, then I can go work on something else. And so I think what helps is a longer view and also this leadership aspect of it. That's why I like leadership development so much, because I'm a very creative person. And I think we're all like that, where you just, there's so many different things you want to do and you can do, but you got to get the one thing going enough to where you can get other, you can delegate people to keep you going and to moving forward. So you have the, you have the catalyst to it. However, you can inspire other people to move it forward. And that's why I like the community and leader, learning how to help people collaborate, is so that, okay, this project can get up and get going, or I can go and put my energy into, or help facilitate a group that is already doing something I'm interested in. And so I don't have to, it's like you can spread your sphere of influence, but at the same time, you just gotta,
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta do it. I mean, it's
It
hard
all
to
comes
do,
down to finding the right people. All right, so here's now here's me. You've been introduced to Will and how he sees things and what his ultimate view in a general way is. Mine is I want to live on the road in an RV, and eventually, ultimately, I want to set up knowledge centers around the U.S. that, in collaboration with existing agencies, universities, education centers, if you will, so that I can provide higher education, teach critical thinking, offer different ways of seeing things, utilizing resources already in existence. I call them knowledge centers in my mind, and that's my ultimate goal. And yes, that's the first time I've said it out loud Yes. It's been there for years and years and years. No, it's not mindset setters. No, Brian. It sounds nice. Nope. Nope. Because I am really, I'm an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You got a problem. Let's fix it. And the problem is you ain't thinking correctly because you're always in trouble. Let's solve it. Problem right there at Intense Media. I don't know what to focus on. Let's show you how other people think and do things and get focused, right? Knowledge. Mm-hmm. It is the accumulation of information so that it makes sense, so that you're able to take it and put it into action. So having said that, I love business research. I love finding things. I love digging into the rabbit hole and pulling out the right rabbit and finding answers. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal. Consulting. To me, as a consultant, I'm a problem solver. That's the reason I'm brought in. They don't know what to do. They think there's a problem. They need someone to fix it. They're not sure what to do yet. They bring me in and I take a look at it, primarily in marketing and training. Because ultimately, it's all well and good to know this stuff, but unless you know how to put it to use, it doesn't do squat. Mm-hmm. Now, that's my ultimate overarching everything. And I'm talking to Intense Media here in response to, what does that look like? That looks like speaking engagement, speaking specifically to that which I love, competitive intelligence, strategic planning. I've spoken on how to research your way to better sales, all the things that I know how to do, and now I can break it down into little elements to teach groups or to present from a stage, to get them to think a little differently. See? Because what I do every single time somebody says, well, I never would have seen it that way. Yay, my day is done. All right, my job is done when I can say that. So it's all about, and it's not mindset to me. It is, here is a way to see how to look past what's right in front of you, so that you can see a broader picture, your place in it, and wham, you're inspired or motivated to do something. And then the training, which is my one-on-ones and groups in, live workshops, that sort of thing. Because it's very important to me that not only do you understand why you're doing something in a particular way, you understand how to do it. And then there's no greater joy to me when somebody comes back and they do years later and they say, what you taught me worked, but then I changed it up and it worked better. And what that tells me is then that you were able to make it fit who you are. That's not my job to make it fit who you are. My job is to make you capable, help you be capable to physically do it. And then you take it and you practice it and you put it to use. And I'm talking training. I'm talking how to use Blab for your business kind of training. I'm talking about how to use different components on the computer system. Training on how to better use your piece of equipment that you've got and I've been doing this for years, since I was back in the 80s. So all of that together is what the path looks like to get to the knowledge centers, to get to living in the RV. Does that make any sense? Now you've got my side and what Will is talking about, and the only reason I put it out like that was to just kind of give the other side. Will gave an excellent view and review of what it takes, and then I just wanted to put something a little different, my own view. Did that? And I'm curious if that made any sense to you at all, Intense Media.
Well, one thing I see that you did is you did put a big game plan, right? And I think a lot of times, he says he's hired personal coaches before. And so, because I was actually thinking about you while she was talking, and it sounds like that's what you I had a business coach. It would help is to have a dialogue about how you are actually, where you are, where you want to be, and the steps that are involved. Because a lot of times these projects are really different steps to expand your vision, right? And sometimes what helps to choosing the right project and where to start working is to understand how it connects and where is the best place for you to start right now.
And focus.
Because like when Charlene was talking, I was seeing that. So she has a bigger vision, and each step along the way, each project that she goes along the way keeps expanding and moving her towards that bigger vision. And that's how I made my mind up, how finally, what I'm going to focus on and how it's going to grow, because I have so many big things that I want to do. However, like Charlene said at the beginning of this blab, if you want to be a thought leader, or if you want to be, great in any way, it's going to take time, and it's going to take a process for you to get there. And you got to continually put in work, right? And so I started to identify what is the best use of my time to accomplish my greater goal right now, So I continue to write down all my bigger ideas. I continue to work them out. I continue to study different stuff that I need to know to have the big idea happen, right? And I'm connecting with people along the way, and they're all excited about the big idea. However, the majority of my time is spent on getting good at the small thing that I'm starting with, and then moving on from there.
Right. So I'm going to close down the recording portion, simply because we are past the top of the hour, but it's been an excellent discussion to this point. Thank you. Thank you those who've joined me in the live stream. I'm so glad that you're with me. Thank you for those in the comment section for adding to the discussion, and for those watching the replay, hey, thanks for hanging with us this long. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow your hearts, grow your minds, grow your businesses. Until next time, have a great day.